My cousin struck it rich with crypto and made a bet he could steal my fiancée with just money, and she said yes. But months later, she showed up begging for help after learning his secret wasn't mental illness, just a massive lie. I listened, finished my drink, and shut the door. Karma doesn't miss. They say every family has that one relative who never grew up. For me, that was Liam. My name's Ian McBride. I'm 33, live in Shreveport, Louisiana, and co-own a modest but steadily growing auto repair garage with my cousin Liam. We've been doing this side by side since we were both 20, me with the certifications and elbow grease, him with the charm and occasional miracle fix that made customers swoon. We weren't just business partners, we were family, blood. That's what made what he said at Jacob's engagement party hit like a sledgehammer. The evening started normal. Too much barbecue, way too much beer, people swapping stories around a backyard bonfire. Marissa, my fiancée, looked incredible in a green dress I'd never seen before. She caught me staring and winked, squeezing my hand. Liam was on one, bragging about some crypto trade that hit big. No more ramen noodles and oil changes for me, he boasted, waving his tumbler like he was on a yacht. Top dog now, finally. I chuckled. Well, good for you. About time you caught up. That's when he turned to me, smirking, and said it loud enough for the circle to quiet. I'll bet you $5,000 I can steal Marissa from you in under a month. No strings. Just money and gestures. I blinked, then laughed. You're drunk. He grinned wider. So are you. Doesn't change the math. Marissa made a sound, uncomfortable but smiling. Okay, Liam, that's not funny. He raised a finger. You said yes to the spa day I gave you for your birthday last year. Remember? That tells me something. That was from both of you, she shot back. He just sipped his drink and winked at me. 1 month. I waved it off, heart rate steady. I knew Marissa. We'd been through 3 years together. Job losses, sick parents, 2 apartments, and 1 raccoon in the attic. She wasn't the kind of woman who could be bought. And Liam? He wasn't nearly as charming as he thought. I forgot about it the moment we left the party. But the next morning, I woke up to Marissa humming in the kitchen. I walked in, bleary-eyed, to see her holding an envelope and grinning. Guess what showed up outside? She said, handing me a thick trifold card. A luxury spa day. 3 treatments, champagne lunch, the whole deal. I opened it. Gold foil lettering. A booking number already locked in for that afternoon. At the bottom, scrawled in black ink, from your future. My gut twisted, but I chuckled. That's Liam. Real mature. He's just being ridiculous, she said, brushing it off. Don't let it get to you. She went, took the car, spent 4 hours there, came back glowing and massaged and wrapped in scented oils. I didn't want to read into it, but something about how she talked about the experience, so elegant, felt like a queen stuck in my mind. That evening, a black SUV pulled up out front. A man in uniform knocked on the door with a clipboard. Chauffeur service for Marissa Kennedy, he said. Excuse me, I said. He pointed to the line on the paper. Booked daily. Week of transport. Marissa stepped outside, jaw open. Taped to the inside window of the car was a note. All caps, glitter pen. From your future. I stood there, hands on my hips, watching her climb in with a laugh. And just like that, the bet wasn't funny anymore. When Marissa walked through the front door that evening, you'd think she'd just returned from a week-long vacation, not a single afternoon of pampering. Her skin was glowing, her hair curled perfectly, her whole mood loose and floaty. She looked happy. Hey, baby, she said, hanging her purse. You wouldn't believe how nice that spa was. Steam rooms, cucumber water. Some woman named Elise massaged my spine like she was writing a love letter to it. I tried to smile, but I couldn't. I had been stewing since that chauffeur pulled up. So, Liam really booked all that? I asked, trying to keep my tone even. Marissa tilted her head. Yeah, I guess. He didn't say it was him, but I mean, who else would write from your future like that, right? And you're okay with that? She gave a little shrug and kicked off her heels. It's not a big deal, Ian. It's just him being his usual extra self. You know how he is. Yeah, I muttered. I know exactly how he is. She caught the edge in my voice and frowned. Don't start. I'm not starting, I said. I'm asking why my fiancé is accepting luxury spa days and daily chauffeur service from my cousin who just bet me he could steal you. Her expression hardened. It wasn't serious. He was drunk. But now he's doing it. Marissa's lips thinned. I'm not cheating on you, if that's what you're getting at. It was a nice gesture. You're acting like I left you for him. Not yet. I said before I could stop myself. She stiffened. Well, I exhaled and rubbed my forehead. Look, I'm sorry. This whole thing's weird. And it's not just a spa day now. The driver said the car is for the whole week. So what? You want me to cancel it? Send him a thank you card and decline his creepy cousin crush gift? I want you to tell him to stop. She didn't answer right away. Just walked into the kitchen, pulled a bottle of wine from the fridge, and poured herself a glass. "I'm tired, Ian," she said, finally. "Tired of scraping by. Tired of driving that junker to work. Tired of getting groceries with coupons while you and Liam argue about who's got more oil under their nails." I stared at her. What does that have to do with anything? She took a sip. Maybe nothing. Maybe everything. The next day, I got a call at work. Marissa had received a package at her job, 3 garment bags delivered to the front desk, each tagged with her name. Her coworkers were gawking when she opened them. Inside, a whole wardrobe, designer dresses, matching heels, a purse that probably cost more than our living room couch. The note was taped to the handle of the purse. "Walk into your new life." I didn't wait. I closed the garage and drove straight to her office. We argued in the parking lot. "Why didn't you reject it?" I demanded. "It was already delivered," she said. "What was I supposed to do? Mail it back?" "You could have said no. You still can." She crossed her arms. "Why should I?" "For your pride. For our relationship." I snapped. "For some basic damn respect." She looked away. Maybe I deserve better than basic. That night, we barely spoke. She went to bed early. I stayed up, pacing the kitchen. When I finally walked in the bedroom, the bed was empty. Her clothes, some toiletries, a suitcase, all gone. On the kitchen counter, where I usually left her morning coffee mug, were divorce papers. Signed. My name left blank. I didn't fight the divorce. Didn't plead. Didn't ask for a second chance. I just signed the papers and walked them to my lawyer like I was handing off a pizza delivery. Because somewhere deep down, I knew it was over long before Marissa packed her things. Maybe the second Liam sent that damn chauffeur. Maybe the second she didn't send him away. I poured all that hurt into the garage, started opening earlier, staying later, taking more jobs, hiring 1 extra guy, then 2. I stopped drinking coffee at home and started living off gas station energy drinks and leftover taco truck food. And you know what? It worked. A customer I'd helped years ago, Rick Sampson, came by one morning. Wealthy, mid-50s, owned a chain of RV dealerships. He noticed the changes, the new lifts, the new team. "You're growing," he said. I nodded, trying. He rubbed his chin. "You ever think about franchising?" That led to lunch. Lunch led to numbers. Numbers led to a handshake over a thick packet of paperwork. Suddenly, I wasn't just fixing cars. I was negotiating expansion with a man who could fund 3 new locations in the next 18 months. Meanwhile, Liam and Marissa were living out some Instagram version of a music video. Vacations, penthouse selfies, dinner at places that didn't even have menus. Just tasting experiences. She had a new look now, sharper, colder, like she was dressing for a role in a show called The Woman Who Made the Right Choice. Liam flaunted it all. Of course he did. He posted photos constantly. Him and Marissa on a boat in Miami, laughing into champagne flutes. Him with his arm around her waist at some rooftop party in Dallas. Captions like "big moves only" and "real men invest in happiness." They even did a joint interview for some podcast about lifestyle entrepreneurship. Marissa called Liam a man with vision. Said he showed her what she'd been missing. I didn't listen to the whole episode. 7 months passed like that. 7 months of quiet, of rebuilding, of moving into a new apartment, smaller but neater, of selling the old couch we picked out together, and finally deleting our wedding playlist from my phone. No contact, no messages, nothing. Then one night, I got home from the shop, still in my grease-covered shirt, sat on my new couch, and cracked open a cheap beer. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me check the voicemail. It was Marissa. Her voice, low, shaky. "Ian, I don't know where else to go. I messed up. Please, just call me back." And then it ended. Just static. Silence. And that old familiar sting in my chest. She showed up 2 nights later. Didn't call ahead. Didn't text. Just knocked on my apartment door at 9:30 on a Tuesday, wearing the same black coat I'd bought her 2 Christmases ago. Her eyes were red. No makeup. Hair pulled back in a lazy ponytail. She looked nothing like the woman who posed in silk dresses on Liam's Instagram. "Hi," she said. I didn't move. Just leaned against the door frame and looked at her. She shifted her weight. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside without a word. She walked in slow, like she wasn't sure if she'd be kicked back out. Her heels echoed on the hardwood. She glanced around like she expected more than my cheap couch and bare walls. "This is new," she said quietly. "Yeah, got it a few months ago." She nodded and sat down, folding her hands in her lap. I took the armchair across from her and opened my beer again. She didn't speak at first, just stared at the floor, lips twitching like she didn't know where to start. "I'm sorry," she said eventually. I took a sip, not sure what for. Her voice cracked. "Everything. The way I left. The way I chose him." I stayed quiet. She looked up at me then, and her eyes were glassy. "Liam's not who he says he is." I almost laughed. "No kidding. No, Ian, You don't understand. She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a whisper. He disappears for days. Sometimes he turns his phone off for whole weekends and comes back acting like he doesn't remember leaving. He talks to himself, like full conversations with someone named Jude. My eyebrows lifted, but I said nothing. He says Jude helps him think, she continued, tears welling. Sometimes he is Jude. I woke up last month and he was sitting at the kitchen table eating cereal at 3 a.m., talking in a different voice. He called me Melissa. I raised my beer. Sounds healthy. She flinched. I didn't know, Ian. I didn't know he was like this. You knew enough to take the gifts. Her mouth tightened. I thought it was harmless. I thought he was exciting. And you were so, normal. I cut in. She swallowed. Safe. I stared at her. At the woman who used to sleep beside me, who used to laugh at my bad jokes, who once cried when my mom sent us that anniversary card with the crooked hearts. Now here she was, shivering in my living room. Lost. I don't know what to do, she whispered. He scares me sometimes. I don't feel safe anymore. I don't have anyone else. She looked up, eyes pleading. Can I stay here? Just for a night. I took a slow sip. Let the silence settle. Then I stood up, walked to the door, and opened it wide. She blinked. You're serious? I nodded once. Good luck, Marissa. And I closed the door behind her. No slam, no yelling, just the soft click of peace returning. After she left, I stood by the door for a long time, just listening to the hallway. No footsteps, no knocking, nothing. She was really gone. I sat back down, cracked open another beer, and stared at the muted TV screen. Some late-night infomercial droned on about countertop blenders, but I wasn't watching. I was thinking about Liam, thinking about Jude. That name triggered something in my memory. Back in high school, Liam pulled one of the most ridiculous stunts I'd ever seen. He got caught hacking the school's gray book system, nothing major, just changing a test score or two, and instead of fessing up, he spent 3 months pretending to be someone else. Said his name was Jude Carmichael, claimed he had dissociative identity disorder. He researched symptoms, read up on psychology terms, and even convinced the school counselor to recommend a reduced disciplinary sentence. Eventually, our aunt and uncle, his guardians, pulled him out of school for special treatment. The charges vanished. Later, over beers, he bragged about it. Takes a certain kind of genius to fake mental illness and get away with it, he said, like it was something to be proud of. I laughed it off at the time. We were 17. Everything felt like a prank back then. A flex. But it wasn't funny now. Our aunt and uncle, God bless M, kept a tight leash on Liam. They were strict but loving, forced him to take medication, go to therapy, attend church. They were the reason he didn't completely burn out before 21. But they passed within a year of each other, and Liam got handed everything they owned. That's when he really started spiraling. I remembered seeing him at the funeral, sunglasses on indoors, gripping a flask like it was oxygen. He cried too, sure. But the moment the will was read and the house became his, the mask cracked. He smiled. Liam always knew how to play people. He wasn't insane. He was manipulative. So now he was pulling the same old trick, dressing it up again, giving his darkness a name, Jude. Marissa thought she'd married a tortured genius. But I'd seen behind the curtain. She didn't run into a man with demons. She ran into a man who used pretend demons to avoid consequences. And now she wanted me to clean it up? Not a chance. I drained the last of my beer and tossed the can into the bin. That part of my life, Liam, Marissa, the whole mess, they'd made their choices. Let them live in the house of cards they built. I wasn't going to rescue anyone from a storm they started. It was just past midnight when I walked into Jake's diner. I'd gotten in the habit of coming here late, cheap coffee, a greasy grilled cheese, and nobody asking how I was doing. Most nights, the place was quiet. A few regulars reading newspapers or watching the muted TV above the counter. That night, though, wasn't quiet for long. I was halfway through a plate of fries when I heard the bell above the door ring like it had been slapped. I looked up. Liam. His hair was a mess, shirt untucked, jacket open like he'd sprinted there. He spotted me immediately and made a beeline toward my booth. Great. Ian, he snapped, loud enough for a few heads to turn. We need to talk. I sighed and set my coffee down. Do we? He slammed both hands on the table. You're talking to Marissa behind my back. I stared at him. You sure you don't mean Jude's talking to her? His eyes twitched. Don't play with me. Pretty sure that's your specialty. Liam looked around. People were definitely watching now. A couple at the corner booth went quiet. Even the cook in the back stopped clattering dishes. You're conspiring with her, he said, voice rising. I saw the ride you gave her. I saw the picture. What picture? I asked, even though I knew. Marissa had messaged me 3 days ago, again. No apology. Just desperation. I ignored her. But I did send her one photo from my phone, a shot of my new shop expansion, the sign that read McBride Auto and Performance. No Liam, no partnership, just me. Apparently, she'd shown it to him. You think this is some game? Liam shouted. You think you can turn her against me and just win? Liam, I said calmly. I'm eating fries. You're having a breakdown in front of an audience. He turned red. You smug little. The waitress, Beth, came over, arms crossed. Sir, you need to sit down or leave. Liam pointed at me, fingers shaking. He's ruining everything. He stole her. He stole the business. He's trying to destroy me. Beth didn't flinch. That's nice. You're done. He stormed out after that. No fight. No threats. Just a loud string of curse words trailing behind him as the door slammed shut. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. I didn't check it. Then again, and again. Notifications. Marissa had started posting. I peeked at one. A photo of a broken mirror with the caption, "Living with a liar." Another. He told me I was safe. He was wrong. Liam's world was cracking. And I turned my phone off, finished my fries, and walked out into the night without a single thought about saving either of them. The auction was held in the county fairgrounds building, next to a goat exhibit that still smelled like livestock and spilled popcorn. Not exactly glamorous, but it was packed. Mostly people hoping to snag a deal from Liam's disaster. He hadn't just lost control, he'd lost everything. Turns out crypto money doesn't stretch far when you blow it on champagne, penthouses, and an unhinged lifestyle with someone you barely knew how to love. One bad tax season, one lawsuit over unpaid rent, and suddenly the luxury cars, the watches, the furniture, all of it was being tagged and sold off. But me? I was there for one thing. The motorcycle. A 2022 Ducati Superleggera V4. Liam's pride. The same one he'd used to take Marissa on those Instagram-worthy rides into the hills. Her arms wrapped around him, her smile stretched wide. I remember the exact post. 2 hearts, 1 machine. Gross. I raised my paddle when the auctioneer called the opening bid. Someone else tried to compete, but I had the money. I'd had the money the whole time. I just hadn't needed to flaunt it like he did. When the gavel dropped, it felt like justice. That night, I rolled the Ducati into my driveway and parked it under the floodlight. I took a picture from behind the handlebars, the tank gleaming under the stars. Then I sent it to Liam. No message, just the photo. An hour later, my phone rang. I let it go to voicemail. 2 hours after that, Marissa messaged me. Did you seriously buy that bike? What's your deal? And the next morning, she showed up. Wearing sunglasses and a too-thin smile, she walked up my driveway like we were old friends. I met her halfway, arms folded. I need a ride, she said. One last one. I looked at her, studied her for a moment. Then I tossed her a helmet. She grinned. We rode the back roads for almost 2 hours. Past the hills, past the lake, past all the places we used to talk about building a life. She held on to me the whole time, tight. When we got back, I killed the engine, stepped off, and handed her the helmet. She took it. I searching mine. That felt like old times, she said. I nodded once. Yeah. So, what now? I smiled. Then I walked inside and closed the door behind me. No goodbye. No promise. No second chances. Just silence. She stood there a while, confused. Then I heard her heels click down the driveway. Later that night, Liam called. I picked up. His voice cracked. Why are you doing this to me, man? I messed up. I know. But we're blood. We're family. I waited a beat, then said, this is what you wanted, remember? To be the top dog. Then I hung up, because in the end, all I did was return the favor. Flashy gestures, a grand ride, and a taste of what it felt like to be replaced. Liam called again the next day. I almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. But something told me to answer. Maybe I was curious. Maybe I wanted to hear him say it himself. He didn't start with insults this time. Didn't yell. His voice was low, tired, like someone who hadn't slept in days. Ian, he said, I need to talk. I stayed silent. He took that as permission. It wasn't real, he said quietly. The Jude stuff, the voices, the moods, none of it. My chest tightened. I leaned back in my chair and stared at the ceiling. I figured, I said. He kept going. I thought if I made people think I was unstable, then maybe I could get away with things. Marissa would feel bad for me. You'd give me space. I didn't expect it to spiral the way it did. So it was all an act? I asked. He hesitated. Not entirely. I mean, the pressure got real. But the Jude voice? The blackouts? Yeah, I made that up. I let out a bitter chuckle. You faked a mental illness to manipulate your wife and your family. He didn't deny it. I didn't know how else to deal. You were always the steady one, the one people respected. I felt like I was stuck playing catch-up. That's because you were, I said flatly. Silence on his end. I didn't fake a thing, Liam, I continued. I worked. I kept the business afloat while you gambled our money and lied to clients. I held back from punching you when you told me you'd steal my fiancée like it was a joke. I know, he said. No, you don't. Because even now, you're not sorry for what you did. You're just sorry it stopped working. Another long pause. I think I need help, he mumbled. I laughed, quiet, sharp. You don't need help for Jude. You need help for being a grown man who still acts like a 16-year-old with a grudge. He started to say something, but I cut him off. Look, I'm done playing your audience. You can cry, confess, call the news for all I care. I don't hate you, Liam. I just finally see you for what you are. What am I? Not sick, I said. Just selfish. He went quiet. Then the line went dead. I stared at my phone for a moment, then blocked his number. Whatever he was chasing, sympathy, forgiveness, another round of games, it wasn't coming from me. That chapter was closed. No more show. No more Jude. Just Liam, alone in the mirror. The divorce finalized on a rainy Thursday in late October. No photographers. No social media posts. Just 2 signatures, 1 bruised silence, and a family law attorney who looked like she was already mentally on her next lunch break. Marissa walked out of the courtroom alone. No alimony. No property. No savings. According to the documents, she'd walked away with her clothes, a half-used bottle of expensive perfume, and a mountain of credit card debt Liam had piled up in both their names. It was poetic, in a bitter kind of way. I didn't go to the hearing. I didn't need to. But I heard all about it from Nate, one of the paralegals at a firm I'd done work for in the past. He called me that evening. Dude, he said, it was like watching a slow-motion car crash. Apparently, the courtroom had been tense from the start. Liam showed up late, wrinkled suit, bags under his eyes. Marissa looked like she hadn't eaten in days. The judge didn't even pretend to hide his irritation. They were arguing before the first question, Nate said. Liam accused her of conspiring with you. She called him a manipulative child with a fake alter ego. I didn't say much. Just let him talk. And get this. Liam started crying at one point. Like, real sobs. Said he lost everything. Marissa just rolled her eyes. By the time they walked out, neither of them could look at each other. Liam got hit hard. The judge ordered him to repay a chunk of the marital debt, what little could be salvaged under the state's laws. But with his assets seized and credit trashed, it wouldn't matter. 2 weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that he'd taken a job as a night shift janitor at the Southgate Mall. Floor buffing, bathroom duty, the works. As for Marissa, she moved back in with her parents in Baton Rouge. Her father, retired military, strict as hell, made no secret of how disappointed he was. She didn't have a job, no car, no health insurance, just a phone and a pile of clothes she could no longer afford to wear anywhere important. One of her old friends from college messaged me out of nowhere. Hey, I don't know what happened between you two, but she's not doing great. Said you wouldn't return her calls. Said she messed up. I didn't reply, because it wasn't mine to fix. Not anymore. Let Liam mop the marble floors he once bragged about walking on in Italian loafers. Let Marissa explain to her mother why all those luxury dresses are now just clutter in a room she grew up in. It wasn't revenge. Not really. It was balance. They made a bet. They lost. And now they were both exactly where they put themselves, on the outside, looking in. The sun was high when I stepped out onto the back porch with a glass of iced tea and a half-hearted plan to fix the squeaky gate. A breeze rustled through the trees, cicadas humming like background music to a life I'd finally made quiet. No phones ringing. No guilt riding shotgun. Just the warm hum of peace. I settled into the old folding chair I'd been meaning to replace for 2 years and took a sip. Sweet, strong, and cold. Just how I liked it. My phone buzzed on the table next to me. I let it sit. Eventually, curiosity got the better of me. I picked it up. One notification, a social media post tagged by a mutual friend. I opened it. There was Liam caught on a blurry security cam still frame, pushing a mop bucket down a hallway in the Southgate Mall. Someone had snapped it through the window of the Jamba Juice. The caption? The Top Dog era ends. Below it, Marissa's name popped up in the comments. She was arguing with someone, posting long-winded replies about how nobody really knew what she'd been through, how she was trying to rebuild. Someone replied with a meme. A dog with sunglasses, sitting in a burning house, sipping tea. Text over the top. Karma has GPS. I chuckled. Then my phone buzzed again, a message from an old friend. Just the meme. No comment. He knew me well. I put the phone down, took another sip of tea, and looked out at the little yard I'd mowed that morning. Nothing special. Just grass, a few patches of clover, and the tree Marissa and I used to argue about cutting. I left it standing, because some things are better with roots. I thought about Liam, about Marissa, about the fire they lit just to prove they could hold the match. Let them rebuild. Let them explain. Me? I was done with explanations. I finished my tea and stood up, stretching my back. The gate creaked when I pushed it shut behind me, but I didn't bother fixing it today. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe never. Some things are better left a little broken. Makes you appreciate the parts that still hold. I stepped back inside and locked the door. And just like that, it was over.